Starting at line 233. The commander's words relieved their stricken hearts. My comrades, hardly strangers to pain before now. We all have weathered worse. Some good will grant us to an end to this well. You've threaded the rocks, resounding the Celius howling rabid dogs, and taken the brunt of Cyclops' boulders too. Call up to your courage again, dismiss your grief and fear. A joy where one day perhaps you can remember even this. There's so many hard straits, so many twists and turns, of course, holds firm from Latiums. This fate holds out our course, holds firm for Latium. This fate holds out a homeland calm at peace. There are gods decreed a kingdom of Troy. We will rise again, bear up, save your strength for better times to come. Brave words, sick of mounting, he cares, assumes looks of hope, and keeps his anguish buried in his heart. The men gird up for the game, the coming feast. They skin, hide from our ribs, they bear the meat, some cut into quivering strips, impale on their skewers, some set cauldrons on the beach, fire them to the boil. Then they renew their strength with food. Stretched out on the beach grass, fill themselves with seasoned wine, and vision rich and crisp, the hunger is salted, the tables cleared away. They talk on for hours, asking after their missing shipmates, wavering now between hope and fear, when to believe about the rest, between hope and fear. Oops, I messed up. Were the men still alive or just in their last doors forever? Their comrades' far-flung calls. Aeneas, most of all, devoted to his shipmates. Deep within himself he moaned. For the losses now, the Orontius, hardy soldier, now for Amycus. Now for the brutal fate that Lycus may have met. Then for Gaius and brave Clonus of hearts of oak. Their mourning was over now as Jove has them from high heaven. Gazing down from the sea, whitecaps, winged with sails, the land outspread, the coasts, nations of earth, paused by the zenith of sky, and set his sights on Libya, the proud kingdom at once. Venus approached it in rare sorrow, tears abrim his sparkling eyes, and begged, Oh, you who rule the lives of men and gods with your everlasting laws and your lightning bolt of terror, what crime my Aeneas commit against you? What dire harm did the Trojans do, that after bearing so many losses this wide world is to shut to them now? And because of Italy, surely from them the Romans would arise one day, as the years roll on, and leaders would as well. Descended from the Teucer's blood, blocked back to life, to rule all lands and seas with boundless power. You promised, Father. What motive changed your mind? With that, at least, I consoled myself for Troy's demise. At heart-trending ruin, waiting fate against fate, but now, after all my Trojans suffered, still the same disastrous fortune drives them on and on. What end, great king, do you set to their ordeals? Antenor could slip out from under the Greek siege, then make his passage through the Illyrian gulfs and safe through the Aeolians. Where the Libyans rule, he struggled past the Timavris river source. There, through 9 months, as the mountain caves roar back, the river bursts out into full flood. A thundering surf overpowers the fields, Racing to Italy, he erected a city for his people, a Trojan home called Padua, gave the Trojan a name, hung up their Trojan arms, and there, after long wars, he lingers in serene and settled peace. But we, your own children, the ones you swore you would hold the battlements of heaven, now our ships appalling, we are abandoned thanks to the rage of a single foe cut off from Italy's shores. Is this the reward for our reverence? Is this the reward for our reverence? Is this the way that they give us back our throne? The father of men and gods, smiling down on her with the glance that clears the sky and calms the tempest, lightly kissing his daughter on the lips. Replied, relieve yourself of fear, my lady Cythera. The fate of your children stands unchanged, I swear. You will see your promised city, Latium's walls, and bear its great-hearted Aeneas, the stars up on high, since anguish is gnawing at you. I will tell you more, unrolling the scroll of fate. To reveal its darkest secrets, Aeneas will wage a long, costly war in Italy to crush and defiant tribes, to build a high city walls over his people, for 3 and founded the rule of law. Only 3 summers will see him govern Latium. 3 winters pass in barracks after the Latins have broken, but his son Ascanius now, he gains in his name the Eus. Ill as he was, while Julium ruled on high, he will fill out his own reign in 30 sovereign years. A giant cycle of months revolving round and round, transferring his rules from old Lavinian home to raise up Alba Longa's mighty ramparts. There, in turn, were a full 300 years of the dynasty of Hector, who will hold sway till Illa, the royal priestess great with the brood of Mars, will bear the god twin sons. Then one Romulus, revealing the tawny pelt of a wolf that nursed him, will inherit the line and build the walls of Mars, and after his own name he calls his Romans. On them I set the limit space of time. I've granted the power of out, and even furious Juno, now plaguing the land and sky with terror. He will mend his ways, hold dear to me these Romans, lords of earth, race arrayed ways and togas. This is my pleasure, my decree. Indeed, an age will come as long as the years slip by, when Iscarius' royal house will quell Achilles' homeland, brilliant Mycenae too, and enslave their people, ruled defeated by Argos. This was the noble blood that will arise Trojan Caesar, his empire bound by the ocean, his glory by the stars. Julius, a name passed down from Julius, his great forebear, and you, in years to come, will welcome him to the skies. You rest assured, laden with the plunder of the east, and he with Aeneas will be invoked in prayer, and in the violent centuries battle set aside. Grow gentle kind, Vesta and Silver Herald, good faith, and Romulus, flanked by brother Remus, will make the laws that terrible gates of war, with their welded iron bars, will stand bolted shut and locked inside. The frenzy of civil strife will crouch down on his savage weapons, hands pried behind his back, 100 brazen shackles monstrously broken from his bloody jaws. So he decrees and seeds the son of Maia down from the sky to make the lands a new stronghold. Carthage, open welcome to the Trojans, not let Dido, unaware of fate, expel them from her borders. Down through the vast clear air flies Mercury. Rowing his wings like oars, and in a moment stands on Libya's shores, obeys commands, and the will of God is done. The Carthaginians calm their fiery temper, and the queen, Dido above all, takes to heart a spirit of peace and warned the goodwill to meet the men of Troy. But Aeneas, duty-bound, his mind restless with the worries that all night reached at a firm resolve to the fresh day broke, as he goes to explore the strange terrain. What cost had storm winds brought to him? Who lives here as he sees the wild untiled? What men, what creatures do report the news? To all his comrades, so concealing his ships in this sheltered woody narrows, overarched by his rocks and screened around by trees and trembling shade, Aeneas moves out with only Achates at his side, two steel-stripped javelins balanced in his grip. Suddenly in his heart the woods of his mother crossed his path. She looked like a young girl, a Spartan girl, decked out in a dress and gear, with Thracian hiplarche, twirling out her mares, out racing the Herbius river. Rapid tides hung from a shoulder, a bow that fit her grip. A huntress for all the world, she'd let her curls go shooting free in the wind. Her knees were bare, her flowing skirts hitched up a tight knot. She speaks out first. You there, young soldiers, did any by any chance see one of my sisters? Which way did she go? Roaming the woods, a quiver slung from her belt. Wearing the spotted lynx skin, her full cry hot on the track for a great furthing blow. So Venus asked, and the son of Venus answered, Not Rome, but your sisters I have seen or heard. But how should I greet this young girl like your face, your hardly in mortal's looks? And the tone of your voice is hardly human either. Oh, a goddess without a doubt. What are you, Apollo's sister, one of the breed of nymphs? Be kind, whoever you are. Relieve our troubled hearts under the skies, and onto the coast of the world have been driven. Tell us, please, castaways. We know nothing, not the people, not the place. Thus hurled there by the gales, the heavy seas. Many a victim will fall before your altars. We'll slaughter them for you. But Venus replied, Now there's an honor I truly don't deserve. It's just the style for the trillion girls to sport. A quiver with high-laced hunting and boots in crimson. What you see is a Punic kingdom, the people of the Tyre. Man, the people of the Tyre. In flight from her own brother, oh, it's a long tale of crime. Long, twisting, dark. But I'll try to trace the high points of their order. Dido was married to Sychaeus, the richest man in Tyre. The poor girl was consigned with love for him. Her father gave her away, wed for the first time, a virgin still. In these, her first solemn rites, but her brother held power in the Tyre. Pygmalion, a monster, the vilest man alive. A murderous feud broke out between both men. Pygmalion, catching Sychaeus off guard, the altar slaughtered him in blood. The unholy man, so blind in his lust for gold, ran through the with a sword, then hit for crime for months, deaf to his sister's love. His heartbreak still he mocked with his wicked lies and empty hopes. With his dream one night, he came to his lifting face, ashen, awesome in his death, showed the cruel altar that pierced his chest, and exposed the secret war that lurked within the house. He urged her own, take flight from her homeland quick, and then he revealed an unknown ancient treasure, weight of the silver gold, a comrade to spin on her way. Driven by all of this, Dido planned her escape, collects her followers, fired by a savage hate of a tyrant and a bitter fear. They seize some galleys to set the sail, load them with gold, the wealth of Pygmalion carved, and they bear it overseas. A woman leads them all, reaching to his haven here, where now you will see the step of ramparts rising, the new city of Carthage. Tyrants pushed at the land as though large as a bull's hide could cut in strips for size. And called it Bulgaria. The hide they spread they thought. But who are you? What shores do you come from? Where are you headed now? He answered her questions, drawing a labored sigh from deep within his chest. Goodness, if I retrace the story to its start, you'd have some time to hear the saga of our ordeals. But before I finished, the evening star would close the gates of Olympus to put the day to sleep. From old Troy we come. Troy it's called, perhaps. You've heard the name, sailing over the world seas, and by chance, some whim of the wind, some tempest drove us into Libyan shores. I am Aeneas, duty bound. I am Aeneas, duty bound. I carry aboard my ships the gods of house and home. We seize from enemy hands, my fame goes past the skies. I seek my homeland, Italy born, as I from highest Jove launched out on the Pythagorean sea with 20 ships, my goddess mother marking the way, and followed hard from course on the fates I charted. A mere 7, battered by wind and wave, survived the worst. I myself a stranger, utterly at loss, trekking over this world a Libyan wasteland, forced from Europe as Asia, too, an exile. Venus could bear no more of his laments, and broke out on his tale of endless hardship. Whoever you are, I scarcely think the powers hate you. Who enjoyed a breath of life, you reached Tyrian city, and off you go now. Take this path. To the Queen's gates, to have good news. Your friends are restored to you, your fleets reclaimed, the winds severed from the north, and you drove them safe to port. True, unless my parents taught me to read the flight of birds for nothing. Look at those dozen swans triumphant in formation. The eagle of Jove has swooped down on them from the heavens' heights and scattered them into the open sky. But now you can see them flying, trimmed in their long rings, landing and looking down from where their friends have landed home, cavorting on the ruffling wings and wheeling round in the sky in convoy, trumpeting their glory. So homeward bound, your ships and hardy shipmates anchor in port now or approach the harbor's mouth. Full sail ahead, now off you go, move on, wherever your path leads, steer your steps. At that, she turned away, her neck shone with a rusty glow, but her mane drove off an abstrobal fragrance, her skirt flowed loose, rippling down to her feet, and her stride alone revealed as her goddess. She knew her at once, his mother, and he called after her now, as she sped away, why too cruel as the rest? You ridicule your son, your disguises. Why can't we clasp hands, embrace each other, exchange some words, speak out, and tell the truth? Reproving her so, he makes his way toward town, but Venus screens the travelers off with a dense mist, pouring round them a cloak of clouds with all her power, so no one could see them, no one could reach them, hold them, 'cause no linger now ask why they had come, racing with joy to her home again. When her temples set and 100 altars steam with Arabian incense, redolent with the scent of her fresh-caught reefs. Meanwhile, the two men are hurrying their way to the path leads, now climbing a step hill arching over the city. Looking down on the facing walls and high towers, Aeneas marvels at its mass. Once a cluster of huts. He marvels at gates and bustling him in cobbled streets. The Tyrians press on with the work, some aligning the walls. The Tyrians press on with the work, aligning the walls, and I just repeated that line. Struggling to raise the citadel, petting my lizard is what I've been doing. Oh, wait. I still am. Okay. Oh, crap. Struggling to raise the citadel, trundling stones up slopes, some picking the building gates and plowing up their boundaries, others drafting laws, electing judges, a senate held in awe. Here, they're dredging a harbor, they lay foundations deep for a theater, quarrying out of rock for great columns to form a fitting scene for stages still to come, as hard as their tasks and bees in early summer. That work from the blooming meadows under the sun, they escort a new brood out. Young adults now or press oozing honey into their combs, the nectar brimming at the bulging cells, or gather up the plunder. Workers haul back in or close ranks like an army, driving the drones, a lazy crew from home. The hive seeks life, exhaling the scent of honey sweet with thyme. How lucky they are, Aeneas cries, gazing up the city's heights. Their walls are rising now, and on he goes, cloaked in cloud, remarkable. Right in their midst he blends with the crowds, and no one sees him. Now deep the heart in Carthage stood a grove, lavish with shade, where the Tyrians making landfall will be shaken by the wind and breakers. First unearthed by that sign, Queen Juno had led her way to the fiery stallion's head that sealed the power when war and ease for life and ages. Her Dido attire building Juno's mighty temple, rich with gifts in her goddess Arn power, bronze threshold crowning the flight of stairs, the deposits sheathed in bronze, the bronze doors gained deep on the hinges. Here in the grove, a stranger's sight met his eyes. Fears for the first time here, for the first time. Aeneas declared the hope he has found for some haven, for all his hard straits, trust in better days, to be awaiting the queen beneath the great temple now, exploring its features one by one, amazed at all the city's splendor, the work of rival workers, hands on the pasco of their labors. All at once you see spread out from last, or first the battles at Troy, the fame of Trojan war now known throughout the world. Atreus' son and Priam, Achilles, savage, both at once. Aeneas came to a halt. Unreadable words. Eventually, Achilles, he cried. "Oh, Achates," he cried, "is there any place on earth not filled with our ordeals? There's Priam's look. Even here, merit with his true reward. Even here, the world is a world of tears, and the borders of mortality. Touch the heart. Dismiss your fears. Trust me, your fame of ours. We will offer us a haven." Oh, sorry, buddy. So Aeneas says, feeding his spear on empty, lifeless pictures, grinning, a low tears rivering down his face, grinning as he sees once more the fight of circling Troy. Here, Greeks in the flight, routed by Troy's younger ranks. Here, the Trojans routed by plumbed Achilles and his chariot. Just in range, the snow-white canvas tints of Rhesus. He knows them once and sobs, Rhesus of men betrayed. In their first sunburns rose them, slaughtered by Diomedes. Splattered. Okay, splattered, with their blood lashing back to the Greek camp and their high-strung teams before they could ever savor the grass of Troy or drink at Xanthus' banks. Next, Aeneas sees Troilus in flight, his weapons flung aside. Unlucky boy, no match for Achilles' onslaught. Horses haul him on, tangled behind the empty war car, flat on his back, clinging still to the reins of his neck and hair, dragging along the ground, but the butt of his javelin scrolling zigzags in his chest. And here the Trojan women are moving toward the temple of Pallas, their deadly foe. Unbound as they bear the robe they're offering, supplements grieving palms beating their breast, but Pallas turns away, staring at the ground. And Hector, 3 times Achilles has hauled around the walls of Troy, and now he's selling his lifeless body off for gold. And I say, capitalism at its finest, my people. Okay. Aeneas gives a groan, heaving up from his depths. He sees the plundered armor, the carved corpse, his great friend and Priam reaching out with his helpless hands. He even sees himself, swept up in the melee, clashing with Greek captains, sees the troops at dawn, and swirling Memnon's arms and Penselia, leading her Amazons bearing half-moon shields, and she blazes with battle fury out in front of her army, clenching a golden breastband under a bared breast, a girl, a warrior, a queen, who dares battle men. Man. We stop after the paragraph after 590, and we'll continue another time this week. And now I would like to just sponsor amazing work of literature that should be acknowledged really well by Mr. The Official, verified on YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat, Facebook, etc. The insult web. He is an astonishing lad, and I'd just like to let's say just critique this video for him. Mr. Chef's Come Home, a true literary work.
Mr. Chef's, we
stuck, and now you're gone.
Mr. Chef's, we're sorry we
Expected you to run away and leave,
ACA
feeling this empty. Your
literature
right now would sound like music to
us.
Please come home,
We
miss you.
Aaron, Mr. Chef, Mr. Chef's,
Come home.
Aaron, Aaron.
Can't you see
We were,
blind?
we will.
Do anything to change your mind. More than a
teacher.
You're my best friend, too cool to forget. Come back, 'cause we are family. And forgive for
Cursed image.
wanna roam. And now
Our
my heart is beating like the saddest metronome.
This is so sad.
You're reading
our
latest three-word poem.
Aaron.
Coming home.
Thank you for watching, and thank you for Mr. D and Zolweb for providing us this amazing video, and I'd like to bid y'all